Okay, I am back with Carlos. He is not beheaded this time. His head is back. He is sharing his leg. His leg is loose. Back with my sheets. I do have a printed sheet that I wrote on, and then I have some that I self-wrote. That's going to be helping us along the way. Gonna try really, really, really hard to get these right. Let's start. I guess we're just gonna start here. We're gonna grab Carlos here. We have to move closer here. We are gonna start with his humerus, which is this lovely, lovely arm bone here. And then we have a greater tubercle, which is this right here. It's like there's actually a screw obstructing it. And then he does have this one. It's the lesser tubercle. It's this front little, where is it? This front point here. That's the lesser tubercle. Then we have a medial epicondyle, which is this bump here. And then you have a lateral epicondyle, which is just the same thing, just lateral on the outside. And then you have a troncula, which is a inside bone here that he doesn't really have, but we're gonna pretend he has it. It sits in this space here. It's like a little bone. Tronclia. I'm gonna go with tronclia. And then he has a radius, which is this bone here. This is a radius. And then he has a head of his radius, which is going to be here. The head of his radius. This is going to be his radius. This is going to be the head of his radius. And then we're going to have the styloid process of the radius, which is just going to be here at the bottom part of the radius. And then you have the ulna, which is this bone here. This is the ulna. So here. Then you have the olecranon, which is elbow. The elbow here, olecranon. And then we have the styloid process of the ulna, which is just the bottom point here of the ulna. And then we have the scaphoid, which is, these bones are a little tricky on here. Let's see if I can locate it. The scaphoid is which one of these is on there? This is gonna be his scaphoid. It's under the thumb. his scaphoid. And then you have a lunate, which is directly next to the scaphoid. He's actually like kind of missing some bones on his hands and wrists. But the lunate is next to the scaphoid. Then you have a triquetrum, which is the outside wrist bone. So that's like here. And then you have the I just looked at all of these and said I'm gonna remember. You have the pisiform, and that overlaps the triquetrum. So that's like here. Then you have the capitate, which is here. It's under the middle finger, so it's here. And then you have the hamate. It's under the ring finger, so it's in here. And then you have the carpals, which are all the wrist bones, so they are going to be here. They're going to be here, these wrist bones. And then you've got the metacarpals, which are the palm bones. Ooh. So they're going to be this layer, these here. And then we have the phalanges, which are your finger bones. Those are phalanges. And then it looks like we are moving on down to the pelvis then. We're moving on to the lilac crest, which is going to be the top area of the pelvis here. It's going to be the lilac crest. And then we have the sacroiliac joint, which I can see it on here, but I think it's going to be difficult to show. It's between, like, there is like a tiny little crack. It's like a joint where the pelvis and the spine meet. It's like in this region here. So that is going to be the sacroiliac joint. And then you have the ilium, which is, oh my goodness, he's about to lose his other leg. You have the ilium, which is like this area, which is like this area here, this hip bone region. That's the ilium. And then you have the pubis, which is this pubic bone area. This pubic bone area is the pubis. And then you have the obturator foramen, which are these front hole openings here. And you have the ischial tuberosity, which are these here. These wings here. And then you have acetabulum, which is this space and where the hips actually go. So this is where, since his legs aren't here, his hip isn't here, that's this space here. And then you have the ischium, which is this back region. It's this lower part here. Lower part. And then we're gonna move on to his leg. Move on to his leg. We have the femur, which is the thigh bone. And then you have the head. You have the head of the femur, which is this. And then you have the neck of the femur, which is this circumference area here. And then you have the greater trochanter, which is this bump here. And you have the lesser trochanter, which is this lower bump here. And then you have the medial condyle, which is medial, which is this here, this bump here. And you have the lateral condyle, which is the bump here on the end of the bone. And then you have the tibia, which is this thicker lower leg bone here. And you have the anterior crest, which is the front of the bone. You have the medial malleus, which is the point of the tibia. And then you have the fibia, which is this thinner bone here. And then you have the lateral malleus, which is the point on the fibia. And you have the patella, which is the kneecap. And then we have the foot and the ankle. Yay. So you have the tarsals, which is these top bones here. These are the tarsals. They are at the top of the foot and they're close to the ankle. You have the metatarsals, which is these long bones here. And then the phalanges are the toes. The phalanges is the toes. And then the calcaneus is the heel. That's the heel bone. And then, I can't see, the talus, it connects to the ankle. So it's going to be like this bone right here. And then we have the medial cuneiform, which is this big bone. There's a set of 3 bones top of the foot, and the medial one, cuneiform, medial cuneiform, is the big one out of the three. And then you have the intermediate cuneiform, which is the middle one of the three. And then you have the lateral cuneiform, which is 3 out of 3. So, if I'm not mistaken, that is all of the bones from this printed list here. And we have went over a good summary of Carlos. And thank you for joining us, and see you next time.